Hey everybody, welcome back to the Speak Up Erika podcast. My guest today is Devanté. Hey
Hey,
Devanté.
how's it going? I'm
Good.
excited.
Thank you so much for being here.
Of course, my
Um,
pleasure.
Before we get started into our topic, so we're going to be talking about childhood experiences and a couple like stigmas of being male and mental health and all that.
Mhm.
Um, I think could you kind of share a bit about who you are?
Of course. So, hi, as you aforementioned, my name is Devanté, but you guys probably know me, or nobody, who knows, as Debbie Underwood or Debbie DGAF. I am a music producer, also in school for fire safety, but that's another thing for another day. Yeah, I'm just one of those people in the community who are an advocate for creatives having a safe space to create. So I really do love to be inclusive of everybody. I believe in more so equity than equality. So I just want everybody to have a fair chance at maybe creating a song or having the opportunity to create whatever art they see fit in their lives. And yeah, but more so on the music production side. So,
Mhm.
mm,
Cool. Thanks, Devante.
of
Can you
course.
share about how, if it's okay, how you kind of got started in doing that?
Sure, yeah, of course. It's a really random story. It's not really going to like make much sense until I guess you meet me. But yeah, I'm one of those people who is really keen on details. So I listened to a lot of music growing up. I like to dance and sing and all that kind of stuff, but more so just like as a hobby or just for fun. And once I realized that I definitely loved more so the production side of music than I guess the overall like the product, I guess the finished product. Yeah, I definitely like all of the intricate details and
Mm.
figuring out like how this sounds like this and just wanting to know more made me want to understand the production side. So when I was in, I think, first year or second year of my program, I was bored and I was like, hey, I really want to deconstruct songs. And I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube and I found out that, there's more to music than just going to the studio and recording. It's like engineers and all these people who have really extensive knowledge in music that bring together this whole picture. And I was like, I want to do that.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
I guess it's like the love of music first, but then afterwards it was like wanting to know more.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I feel like when people think of like music and stuff, they do obviously go to like the recordings and like
Totally.
making it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like the details, that's so sick. So Devante, can you kind of I know that we met through I guess Instagram and you were starting to support me and like the podcast and I saw you posting about it. I was like, whoa, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Can you kind of share a little bit of how you found it?
Yeah, of course. So
Yeah.
I think prior to me even following you, we had a mutual friend in common, Angelina, and she had actually posted some of your content on her story. And so I, just being me,
Yeah.
intrigued, so I went to go see what it was about, and it was actually about your Speak Up podcast. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. People from, I guess, surrounding cities are doing things to advocate for mental health. And I think that's so important, especially for young people like us. So I went and checked out your podcast on Spotify, and I was like, wow, this is exactly what people like us need, especially because we're so drawn to hearing what other people have to say to formulate our own opinions. And I feel like if we have that positive influence, it's a lot easier for people to make better decisions, even though like they have all this social media and stuff that's clouding their brains. Like you still have people that look like you, talk like you, saying positive things. It's probably going to have a positive impact in your life. And so yeah, through Angelina did I see your podcast, and I was like, nah, this is too good to not support because you're actually trying, especially so young. Like you're actually trying to be there for people, and also you have your festival going on too, which is amazing. So I was like, there's no reason why I shouldn't support.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's super awesome. I feel like when I started this, I was like, okay, I just want to do it because it is important to definitely have people share their
Definitely.
experiences and
Right.
as well, I totally value that same idea of creating safe spaces for others.
So important. You have no idea.
But like making it sometimes I release an episode and I'm like, yeah, that cool, that was fun and stuff. And then finding out that people actually listen to it is a whole
Yeah.
other thing. You're like,
Whole
oh
different.
damn, like this is oh, sorry, fruit fly. This is an actual this is an actual thing. Like people are like fucking with the content. So
Yeah,
thank you so
exactly.
much.
Of
Yeah.
course. I mean, like, you don't even have to thank me. It's more so thank you for, taking that step forward, knowing that it's probably you going against the grain, but still feeling like it's a message that needs to get out nonetheless. So that's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Thank
Shows
you.
leadership, anyways.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's funny. The podcast I recently had with O'Neill, like he was talking about, yeah, like go follow the podcast, do this and that. And I feel like whenever people like hype me up, I guess,
Mhm.
I make myself feel small because I'm like, oh no, like it's
Yeah,
okay,
I
kind of
totally
thing.
understand that.
So I feel
That's just
like
because you're humble, man. I
I
can already sense it.
I feel like I'm trying to figure out a balance between being humble and being confident. That's another
A
thing because
difficult balance it is,
for
especially when there's so
sure
much judgment out there. It's like you don't want to come across as whatever to some people and ruin some potential opportunities for yourself,
that's
knowing
true.
that you're really just trying to show people that, hey, I have a good product or I have a good service or I have a good whatever I'm trying to provide. And I don't want to defer you away from it, but I also want to let you know that like we're all here for each other. So it's a
Yeah,
hard balance between showing how good you are, but then not wanting people to think that you're only about that.
100%. Yeah, I know, man. One day I'm gonna be like, yeah, I did that. Thank you, and I won't like cringe about it.
I really hope that day comes very soon because you deserve it. You've done a lot of hard work. If they only knew, man, they don't really know how hard you actually really go. It's crazy.
Thank
I have to give
you.
credit where it's due.
Um, I guess we'll go into our topic then, going
Sure.
off from that. Um, so our topic, when Devanté and I started talking earlier, we were kind of going into like chatting about our childhood experiences kind of, and we are also talking about therapy services and all that kind of stuff too. So I guess my first question to you is, what was your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory. Well, oddly enough, I guess I have like a kind of a mixed feeling about this experience, but it doesn't really matter. I'm still gonna share it.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually of my parents fighting. And the funny
Oh
part
yeah.
about why this is such a memorable experience for me is because it was really the first thing that I really do remember. So I get when I was thinking about like what may be some of my experiences, I really had to think about it for a very long time. And I was like, I don't remember anything past age 6. I'll keep it real
Uh,
with you guys. So I don't really remember much before that. And a lot was going on in the time that I was 6. I mean, like my parents were separating and things were just a little bit difficult in a sense where I didn't understand why things were difficult because I was a child. So it
mhm.
made it that much more difficult, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I get it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So being a kid not having the ability to understand why there's no harmony in your home, it kind of has like a negative effect on you and on your psyche a little bit, just in a sense where it's like you're constantly battling things that you didn't have to battle had things been better for you by maybe your siblings or your mother or whomever. Because you're a child, you don't understand. So
I
you take
know.
everything so personal. And I remember this fight, and it's a little bit funny because my parents were so all over the place. They didn't even realize I was there. I was just sitting on the couch on like in like the corner of the room, just watching them go at each other verbally. Thank God they never got physical with each other. But yeah, they're just going at each other verbally. And my dad got so frustrated after the fight, and he had just flung the remote that he had in his hand across the room, and of course hits me in my head.
Oh no.
Right. But I was so drawn back by the fight. I was like, I've never seen my parents like this, that I didn't even really realize that I was in pain because they were in pain. I was realizing maybe I'm empathetic, or maybe that's how I realized to be empathetic, because I was like, even though I'm feeling the pain of being physically inflicted by my dad throwing the remote, I didn't realize how much I was in pain because of how much it hurt to see them go at each other like that, even at a young age. So I was definitely my first childhood memory. It's a little bit odd, but
No, I don't think it's odd. Thank you for sharing it though, because it's interesting of like until what age we remember certain things. Because you said
Mhm.
you were saying 6 years old, and I wonder like what the reasoning is for like
I
certain
do
things,
too. I
like
really do.
why does it cut out at certain places for some people, and
Right, exactly.
it's interesting. No, that is an interesting story because I feel like sometimes we think of our parents in a certain way when we're kids, and they don't
Oh, yeah.
realize how much we remember about them growing up
Totally.
too.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think for me it was I was trying to honestly I haven't really thought about what my earliest childhood memory was, but um, I feel like being a kid I was always scared. Whether it was I have a lot of things triggering coming back to me right now of like bugs and stuff.
Bugs.
So I had
Not the
the
bugs.
first apartment that we lived at. I remember it was like kind of a birthday party, I think.
Mhm.
And I remember screaming because I saw a bug there and asking my dad to kill it. And I feel like I'm 25 now and I still feel the exact same way. I asked my dad to like, yo, there's a bug, come and kill it right now.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how that has like traveled with me, I guess, throughout the years.
All the years. That is funny, but you know what? There's no shame in it because if I can be completely honest, even though I've had the I guess the privilege to kind of mind over matter myself when it comes to bugs, I'm not gonna lie, I shiver after. Like
It's so
I'll
ugly.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is that? Why is it doing that? Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Why do you have more than two legs?
It'll stop. Yeah. I know, I know. I know.
Hey, I
But
can't wrong you at all.
some people are not afraid at all. They're just like, why
It's
are you
crazy.
so afraid of this bug? And they just slap it or go
I
along
can
with
I
the day.
can only be like that when others are around.
Oh, interesting.
Other
Yeah.
people give me confidence to not be afraid of bugs, but when I'm by myself, I'm literally like, it's you or me. So who's it gonna be?
Definitely you. Yeah, I always take out my vacuum whenever that stuff happens. So like, okay, thank
Wow.
God I have this vacuum because how am I gonna kill things? Usually, what I do is like take a Lysol bottle or whatever, like alcohol spray, and just
Yeah,
spray it until it doesn't move.
that is
So
hilarious.
that's
You should
like
try
my
the
tactics.
you should try the fragrance and lighter trick. They drop instantly. Yeah, I know I'm a little bit cynical. Don't tell your friends
Oh
I'm like this.
no,
Literally,
like
just
I
the
never thought
fire, the
about that.
flamethrower.
Yeah. Whoa. But like say if it's on my wall, will it like cause my wall to go black? You know what I
No,
mean?
ma'am. Not
No?
enough heat.
Oh,
Luckily.
okay.
It's like if you were to it's like if you were to light dust on fire, it would instantly combust, but there's not
Gotcha.
enough heat to sustain the chain reaction. So it just
Okay.
like fizzle out after.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna try that out next time.
Mhm.
My sister is gonna be like, "The fuck are you doing? Like,
You
what
only
is
need one spray,
this?"
just one, and it will instantly combust and it'll go away.
Okay. But I feel like there's also that fear when you try to kill something and you don't know if you've killed it.
Oh my gosh, yes. Don't even start. That's the worst. Or when it drops and it just disperses and you're like, yo, I can't sleep now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't sleep.
Oh
That's
gosh.
hilarious.
um so I guess I'll go into my next question. I know we're kind of going off on that one.
Sorry about that.
No, no need to be sorry. But so like I guess based on that childhood experience or even overall in general, how do you think that it has shaped you to who you are today? I feel like I kind of touched upon like how mine did. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, for yourself.
Well, yeah. So seeing other people go through their range of human emotions definitely allowed me to see that it was possible. A lot of times when I talk to my friends, their apathy or their lack of emotional competency oftentimes does come from their parents not giving them that affection or them feeling that level of neglect. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was able to kind of turn my pain into champagne, if you will.
Hey, I
Because
love that.
yeah, and the cool part about me saying that is actually because seeing my parents hurt made me feel. And a lot of times when other people see other people hurt, they don't know how to interpret it because they're dealing with so much with their pain. And so it made me more empathetic to see other people going through things that it would oftentimes make me want to not think about my own troubles or my own problems. And that's gotten me pretty far because it introduces a level of frugality. It's like if you already have everything that you need, then you may not need to go anywhere else to seek answers, or you may not need to go anywhere else to get, or you know that since you have everything here,
Yeah.
it's better to figure out what's going on here first before you go looking elsewhere. And
Yeah.
so it's weird that that fight brought all that emotion to me, but I know that that's the only reason why I remember it so clearly is because my mind has repurposed it and gave it new meaning, which is to be empathetic and to be
Mhm.
frugal and to be more emotionally competent rather than to be judgmental. Like I could have been pissed at my parents, be like, you guys are always fighting, blah, 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 blah. But instead I was like, I feel bad that my mom has to go through this, or I feel bad that my dad has to go through this. So
Yeah.
definitely introducing a level of empathy.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. I feel like the way that you shared it, it's so intelligent. Like I could listen to you talk, Devante, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Thank you so much for sharing your insight
Of
about
course.
that. I feel like it's like most people, because the remote control hit your head too, and the
Mhm.
fact that you're not bringing up right now that you're angry, like, dad, why you threw that remote control on my
Yeah.
head, then that part didn't carry with you. It was just like seeing your parents in distress
Yeah, it
was
made
what
me so
carried.
sad. Like
That's amazing.
when you be sad,
Yeah, I would.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's just like a range of emotions that we feel. And
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes some emotions hit us harder than others. And I guess, unfortunately for me, mine was just like empathy or sadness
Yeah.
rather than to be angry.
Mm-hmm.
It takes too much
Yeah.
energy to be angry.
Yeah. Yeah. Devonte, is anger an emotion that you come across by a lot, or is it kind of,
Definitely.
yeah? Oh, yeah.
Definitely. I mean, like I'm not ashamed to say it because anger is one of the emotions that I think is actually very important. It's how
Mm,
you either choose to express it or how you displace it that is actually the more important part about it. Because
wow.
if you're always displacing your anger, then it's never going to make sense to you why you get so angry.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are feeling your anger and understanding why you get angry, it's easy for you to now create bridges over your anger and now tell yourself, okay, when I know that this is present, I don't have to get so angry, or try to tell yourself that anger is normal so that you don't feel so bad about being angry. Like I
Yeah.
definitely am hot tempered. I can be definitely. I'm a Sagittarius. It is what it is. But after the storm always comes the calm, you know what I mean?
For
And
sure.
I'm definitely one of the kinds of people who like to take accountability for themselves. It's the only way I'm going to teach myself how to be better. And
Mm-hmm.
so after I'm angry, I'm definitely apologetic, or I'm definitely empathetic towards people who I've maybe wronged by whether I'm displacing my anger or maybe they were just present while I was angry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely do get angry,
Yeah.
especially in the last year and going into
Oh,
this year,
yeah.
politics and just everything. It's so hard to not get angry,
Yeah.
but you have to also remember that, hey, life does go on. And if you let people get the better of you, then this anger is not going to make sense because you're actually displacing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, to answer your question, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Regular human emotion.
Yeah, I felt kind of stupid asking it because obviously everyone gets angry, but I was just
But I know what you
curious.
meant. I know
Yeah,
what your
because
question is. Yeah. Not a stupid
but
question. Nothing is a stupid question.
I love how you said that because obviously everyone gets angry, but it definitely comes to like with anything of how what we do and what
Definitely.
we say from after whatever we're feeling. I think
100%.
that like right now I'm going through someone experiencing anxiety and they had never heard of what anxiety was. So
Right.
for them to also think about, okay, I have anxiety, which is also natural, like everyone has
100%.
that.
Myself included.
Yeah, oh man, it's definitely a difficult emotion to kind of figure out how do I deal with it and like how do I
100%.
move
Oh my
forward
God.
with
Hit
having
that one
this,
right
right?
on the head with that.
Right? Yeah, so it's so interesting because I feel like with what you said about anger, it could kind of apply to any emotion too that you're feeling, I
Totally.
guess.
Totally.
Yeah, that's super sick.
If
I never
not
thought about
anxiety
it
more
like
than
that.
anything else, because it's such
Oh,
a just
yeah,
umbrella of who even knows what the hell's going on.
right?
That's how it feels, anyways.
I know. Oh gosh, it's really crazy, yeah. And I guess to segue into talking about mental health and all this anxiety and stuff, and also talking about our childhood, could you kind of share how has like the stigmas with mental health affected you while growing up, especially being like a male, if you can,
Yes.
when considering gender stereotypes, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like there definitely is a negative stigma for men, but only men amongst men. I feel like
Hmm.
me growing up, I definitely was told to be a certain way and to act a certain way, but I'm a stubborn person. I'm a little bit hard-headed, and I have this infinite want to always be my true authentic self, even as a kid too. So it was kind of
Okay.
hard for people to tell me to be more macho or to be, a lot less emotionally competent, being like boys don't cry or boys don't wear the color this and all that kind of stuff definitely was prominent growing up. So there was a negative stigma about mental health because even if you didn't feel that way, you were forced to feel that way as a man because we're told that men don't do certain things. And the reality is that we're told this by men who are already jaded, men who weren't given the opportunity to take their mental health seriously. So I was very aware of this and I was like, okay, well, this right here is the problem. Why am I going to seek approval from a person who doesn't necessarily want to understand what it truly means to be like accepted? You know what I mean? If you are always having to change yourself for others or not be aware of your mental health for others, and that definitely means that you're not really being accepted by these people. And I didn't want that for myself. So
Mm-hmm.
growing up, it was really easy to make the decision to want to be an advocate for mental health, especially my own, because I did definitely feel like there wasn't enough people doing that for themselves. And so it was hard. It was definitely hard always having to battle people for what was right, just because you wanted to tell them that it's okay to be in your head, but it's also okay to want to get help if you need it. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't have people in their corners telling them that's okay. And that's why I think there's such a negative stigma for men because there's not enough men telling other men that it's okay to cry and it's okay to be down. Just don't stay there. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Everyone's like, get back up, do this, do that. It's very commanding. But
Yeah.
where was the nurturing? Where was the love? Where was all the things that are actually necessary to heal? If you're not
Mm-hmm.
actually helping me to heal, then how am I going to have better mental health? And so that's where the disconnect is for me. And that's why I realized there was a negative stigma, especially for men, and especially growing up where you're always forced to be a certain level of male, just so that you can be considered as worthy or like, I don't know, alpha or whatever. None of that stuff really matters to me personally, but it definitely does contribute to why my mental health is the way that it is and why it is the way that it is for other males as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Oh gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that perspective because I feel like I never grew up with any brothers or any male cousins or anything like that. So for me, it's like a lot of female energy around me, I guess you can say.
Yeah,
And
love that for you.
thank you. Yeah. But I always love talking about this because it's so important to talk about like the
100%.
male stigmas behind it. And um, with me personally right now, I can see it with my parents. I feel like in their generation, they also
Great for your dad.
didn't think about mental health in the same way, right?
Not at
And
all.
there are people are like, oh, why are you acting like that? Like, stop being a woman or stop being like a girl.
Right. All the labels
And
for what?
yeah, and then to them, it's like, oh, I told him, I'm like, it's okay, you can cry if you want to. Like, it's
Mhm.
normal. Like, it's
That's
natural to
right.
do it, right?
That's right.
And I think being an even like an older man and having like someone like a your daughter, I guess, tell you those kinds of things, it's a different place from where it was back then, maybe when he was growing up. And like as you said, you're always being told to not show certain things. So maybe
Yeah.
when he was
100%.
growing up, his right, like his dad was telling him, no, don't cry, suck it up, like rub some
100%.
dirt. I don't know what they say back
Yeah.
then, but like he lived on a farm, so go clean up the pigs, whatever.
Yeah. Very
Like,
commanding rather than trying to allow him to
yeah,
heal.
for sure. I love that you brought that up because it's so true that I feel like they just try to push it away and not actually go to the root of the problem
That's
and
right.
heal with it, as you were saying. So
100%.
um I yeah, I empathize with that a lot because although I'm
Yeah.
not a male and I haven't grew up with a lot of them, like it's so important to talk about it. And I feel for you. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And if
Yeah.
there's anything that I can say is that I honestly appreciate your empathy, but women have it way worse. So I can no, there's just so many things that I'm like, nah.
We,
I'm so glad that I don't have to deal with this as much as it sucks being a guy. If you stop listening to what society says, I think you'll be okay, especially if you're really trying to heal and really
yeah.
trying to be an advocate for your own mental health. But women have it the worst, like 360. So fuck, I pity you guys. I really do. I apologize for swearing. Sorry.
No, no. Oh gosh. Yeah. I feel like we can go off and just rant about all these topics
Totally.
of like things about being a woman too. Are you talking about like periods and stuff? Is that what
Um,
obviously you're referring
that or
to?
even just how much as men want to say that, it's hard to be a man in society because we're always forced to be this or that, and women want us to be this, and other men want us to be this. That's just opinion. The reality is that women have all of these things set in place to knock the idea of equity and also equality. So if you have everyone in society trying to make you into a certain mold, you have everyone in society trying to tell you what you are, you have everyone in, and not just one person, but everybody. That means the lesser than, that means the more than, that means everybody in between. They're all trying to now reformat how we see women, trying to normalize how we perceive them, what is right, what isn't right. But nobody thought to ask women what they thought.
Wow.
We're all telling them, yo, you should look like this, you should have this. If you don't have this, then it's, but nobody thought to ask the women what they thought about what it's like to be a woman. So now these are all these other men who have no idea what it's like to be a woman formulating the standards for women.
Wow.
Doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Holy
To me,
crap. Yeah. Wow.
that's why we
I
have it way worse
it's
to me. There's
I
no equity, there's
yeah.
no equality. It's just opinion based facts.
That's
You're
so
forced to live in a
crazy.
society that is saying this is your life now, deal with it. I don't like that at all.
I totally hear what you're saying. Yeah, 100%. There's so many things that society is telling women to be and to do. Um, oh man, yeah, we could definitely go off
Self-blame.
on this because even with like being a mother or something like that, like that's a whole other thing, or how to dress is a whole other thing. But I think like going back to mental health and emotions, I guess that we're talking about,
Right.
it's funny because like as you were saying and sharing right now, like men have that stigma that they can't express themselves, and then
Mhm.
women, I guess, I don't know if it's considered a stigma, but they express themselves too much maybe, and that
Allegedly.
yeah, right, like that's what society is perceiving,
Normalize
I
emotion,
guess.
guys.
Yeah,
Normalize. If
but
men didn't think it was such a problem to be emotional, then we wouldn't even have a problem with women being expressive
mm,
about their emotions.
yeah, wow, full circle. Yeah, I love this conversation, man. Thank
We're
you.
here for.
Yeah, your insights are just like my brain's like pfft. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, wow." Like I've
God,
thought
bro,
about
this is my
it.
podcast.
But yeah, I feel like it is my podcast, but I invite so many different guests to come on and sharing it with them. I feel like it's more of a collaborative thing to
Okay,
me. Like
that's
that's
so
how
cool of you to say. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
yeah,
The only thing that I could say is that there's also a negative stigma about men having feminine energy and
cool.
thinking
Okay.
that that makes them less masculine because they have more feminine energy or not. But if you think of the premise of like yin and yang, right? It's supposed to be a balance.
Yeah.
But no one said that at any given time it had to be balanced all the time. So if I wake
Mm,
up in the morning and I say I want to have masculine energy, but then I end off my day with having feminine energy, technically I'm still balanced. I still use them at different times, but it's still me giving my feminine and my masculine at the simultaneously, you know what I mean?
yeah, I
So
feel
I
that.
feel
Yeah.
like people who judge others based on how much energy they portray in their personality creates that negative stigma because it's not allowing somebody to be 100% a person. If you're only going to judge me on my feminine views versus my masculine views, but I have all the views and I'm going to share them had you had given me time to show you that it's more than just, my feminine or my masculine. So I feel like if people just stop judging that entirely, it wouldn't be such a negative stigma on men having feminine energy, because it means that they're able to nurture all while still being strong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that balance is actually more of a good thing rather than a negative thing. The more emotional competence I feel you have, the more you're able to understand others and build with them rather than to break them down.
Mm-hmm.
Not always a
Yeah.
competition or a rat race, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. I feel like I've never had a conversation with someone about talking about like the feminine and masculine energies that people have, and
Yeah.
it's so true that we actually we do have like two different sides that is it's important
Right.
to have that balance.
Mhm.
Can you I guess can you kind of share how you came across the idea of the energies? Is that cool?
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. So I didn't really know too much about it myself,
Yeah.
but what I did know is that I'm predominantly raised by women. My grandmother, my mother, my dad didn't really have much of a hand in shaping who I am as a person. All the masculine energy that I get is from my older brother. He's a Leo, so he's a leader, but he's 6 years older than me. So even my dad not having so much to say about my personality definitely helped me see that the world was infinite, because women don't typically put caps on things. They'll say you can be as much as you want, you can see whatever you want to see, and you can experience whatever you want to experience. Just be respectful of other people's boundaries. And
Yeah.
because women are so insightful like that, it oftentimes would lead me to feel like that was more of the way that I wanted to think, rather than being like, if it's there for the taking, then take it. That's such a man mentality. It's like a go-getter
Interesting.
mentality. But
Yeah.
what we don't realize is, if it's there for the taking, but if you don't have the plausible resources to take it, then
Mm,
you're oftentimes going to do things that you shouldn't. And that's why men don't see how their actions are aggressive or offensive to others, because they're so caught up in the idea that what's mine is mine, that they don't realize that
mm,
it's more to it than just taking. There has to be a level of nurturing, there has to be conversation, there has to be understanding, there has to be an exchange. And that's where the nurturing comes in. And so seeing my mother be this way, seeing my grandmother be this way, it definitely shaped me to want to have more of a nurturing approach in my personality, especially being somebody who's a little bit hot tempered and very blunt as a person. If I
mm,
can help people understand my point by being more nurturing, then that's going to be beneficial for all of us. And so, not having that direct influence of masculine energy in my life shaped me to be more understanding and nurturing. And as I'm seeing this, I'm like, wow, okay. So it doesn't make me any less of a man being this way. And I also get to reap the benefits of being a nurturing person that people tend to want to come towards to talk about whatever, because they see that I'm good at listening. I'm not saying that men aren't good listeners, but they typically hear what they want to hear. You know what I
mm.
mean? Like, even just me as a guy, myself, like, sometimes I'll check out of conversations because I only really want to hear what I want to hear. But women who
Interesting.
are nurturing or have that feminine energy, even though they don't want to hear you, they'll still hear you out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can say that I definitely still have to work on that being a man. And that's where my masculine energy is fighting my feminine energy. And I didn't
Gotcha.
know that
Yeah.
this was such a big thing until I learned more about astrology, or just like the balance between yin and yang as well. So I definitely, after did more research, I was like, oh, wow, I definitely have more feminine than masculine energy. But knowing that it's the balance that keeps everything in homeostasis, it's like, okay, the more research you know, or the more things you find out, you realize you don't know anything. But
Yeah.
it definitely helped a lot to do that research and realize that I had more feminine energy, and that it was actually okay, because I feel balanced as a man. I don't feel like I'm too feminine to the point where people can't approach me because they might think I'm this or that, but I also don't care. So that helps, not caring what other people think, but knowing that it's totally okay to have more feminine energy than masculine energy, even though you're a guy, because it shows that you care,
Mm-hmm.
that you're willing to try or whatever. It's just a lot that goes into feminine energy versus masculine that I feel like I relate to more. So,
Yeah.
question.
Ah, I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's so cool that you brought that up because and learning about and that you wanted to like learn more about it and sharing it with
Mhm.
us here. I think
Right.
it's something people don't really talk about, and I feel like people are scared to share certain energies because of how they
Totally.
would perceive themselves in society.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. But it's so cool that you have to kind of experience both because at the like that just makes you who you
Who
are
you are, yeah.
and like the
Everyone's going to be
balance.
different. That's
For
right.
sure, yeah. Because I feel like some people, maybe like men, may be scared to share their female energy because of certain things
How
and
they're going
how
to be
people,
perceived or
for
whatever. Yeah.
sure, yeah. Or I don't know if women have feel the same way of being scared to share their masculine energy as
Well,
well.
if I can interject just
For
for a
sure,
second,
go for it. Yeah.
the topic of when women are like, I don't want to tell him what I do for work because as soon as he finds out, he's going to be uninterested or intimidated. Let's say she's like a high grossing lawyer at like the highest firm, Jessica Pearson suits, but but she doesn't have much of a love life, and that's almost the trope on purpose because it shows
Ah.
that men are intimidated by her, right? So she's showing that go-getter energy, but that intimidates other men because they're competing for their own masculinity. Let's be honest, it's the ego trip.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were just more
Wow.
understanding, yeah, if men were more understanding, then it'd be like, okay, just because she makes more, just because she has all of these masculine tropes set in place, it doesn't make her less feminine. It just
Mm-hmm.
means that she's a go-getter just like you. So it's
Yeah.
good.
Wow. So, sorry, I'm coming back full circle right now. I know earlier we were talking about how I'm trying to like build that confidence and like be accepting of my accomplishments and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
guess reflecting back on that right now that we're talking about energies, it's like my feminine energy is coming out more and the masculine one's like, no, no, don't show your confidence because that's like
That could be
that's
that totally.
yeah, that's just kind of something I was thinking about now that like being submissive and being like humble and stuff, those are like
Definitely.
feminine qualities. Like you don't overshadow other people because
Right.
that's not being feminine enough, I guess you could say. Or I don't know, that's something interesting that
Yeah, we
yeah,
could. I'm telling you right now, if people were to be more intuitive about their feminine and masculine energies, they
that's
would be
amazing.
just better people overall because they would understand themselves more. They wouldn't feel so conflicted because they're
Yeah.
not being told what they are. They're figuring out what they are and then
Yeah, I
living it.
love that.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you so much, Devante.
Of course, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. Oh man. I guess to end off, can you share with us how to support you and your work and your projects and like
Sure.
with uh
Shameless plugging.
how do you pronounce your production company, would you say? DG, don't give a fuck. DGAF production, don't give, right? Is that correct?
Pretends to be shocked. Yeah, but it's actually kind of multi purpose and it has a multi meaning as well. Like you could say like knowing me as a person, if you know me well enough, you know that I naturally just am that, but it's more so an ode to um not allowing yourself to tell other like not allowing yourself to let other people tell you who you are. So it actually also stands for don't give away your future, meaning
Oh,
yeah, I personally like felt this way a long time before I was able to conceptualize it into words, but it was definitely just not allowing other people to tell you who you are as one, and two, not being afraid to be your truest self, because if you are afraid to be your truest self, you'll never see the opportunities that were meant for you. You're always going to be seeking approval from things that don't necessarily need you, or you might love something that might not love you back because you didn't know that you weren't supposed to be there.
whoa.
So that's you giving away your future, right? If you don't really allow yourself to do what's meant for you futuristically.
Yeah.
So if you love music, do music. Don't care about what other people are saying. If you love podcasting, do a podcast because people are going to do whatever they want anyways, but at least you could say this was something that was true to me. And now if you were to look back on it 5 years from now, you would say, okay, I did that. That was something I wanted to do. You didn't give society the chance to take away what you wanted to do for yourself, which is not allowing yourself to give away your future. So,
Yeah.
like, don't give away your future productions because if you want to be a creative, be that. And as long as you stay true to yourself, futuristically, it'll always make sense because this is what you intended for yourself, and that's what it's going to be.
Wow, I love it. Thank you.
Mhm.
I think also as both of us as creators and like being, I know earlier we talked about being vulnerable and putting ourselves out there. Like that's such
Definitely,
a
yeah.
huge thing, right?
Mhm.
But and being vulnerable and putting ourselves out there in relation to also staying true to ourselves and doing what we want to do because that's just like who we are. And yeah, thank you. That's so cool to think about, because it just, everything just comes full circle. Like in
Yeah.
the conversation we're having right now, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. It went over my head, then came right back over my
Yeah.
head.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'll
of
definitely
course.
link your stuff down below in the podcast
Yes. And
notes.
guys, like I was talking to Erica about earlier, go on Amazon right now or whenever you get a chance and search up Speak Up Erica. She has her own book out. You guys need to read this because it is an ode to real life experiences that I feel like we can all learn from. And if you're not going to do it for her, then definitely do it for me.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
I'll own up to it. I'm proud. I'm
Thank
proud
you.
of it. Yeah.
Finally.
Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Devanté. Thank you for
No
your
worries.
time and your
Of course.
energy. Like all your insights on this podcast. It's like I'm so mind blown. Like I'm gonna go home
Me
later. Well,
too.
I'm at home, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
go on the computer later. I mean, I'm already on the computer. You know. I'm just gonna go search up about this energy stuff because it's
Yeah.
so,
No,
all
it's
of this,
definitely
right?
beneficial for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. And
No
thank you
problem.
to everyone who's
Thank
listening.
you for the opportunity as well. I really hope it's
Yeah,
received well by everybody.
100%. I definitely think it will be. And I'm happy that we were able to cross paths though and be able to do this. This is so sick
As
to
am
me.
I.
Yeah,
I'm happy
awesome.
to.
Bye.
Take care. Love, prosperity to everybody.